Well, Governor, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
Well, first question, I think the question on everyone's mind right now, are you being vetted as a vice presidential candidate?
Well, it's an honor to be considered, but regardless of what happens through the process, I'm going to do everything I can to get Kamala Harris elected as President of the United States this November.
There are a couple different names being floated, your name being on that list. What would you bring to a Kamala Harris ticket?
Well, first, all the people whose names are out there are great people. I know most of them. They are all strong leaders. I come from a state where you have to cross the aisle, where we put being Kentuckians above being Democrats or Republicans. We have made it through everything from the pandemic to the worst tornadoes to the worst flooding in our lifetime, and now we've got the best economy that Kentucky has ever seen. We've broken every record for private sector investment, job creation, exports, tourism and its impact. We've got record low recidivism, and our drug overdoses have gone down. Drug overdose deaths have gone down 2 straight years. So I certainly bring a record of achievement, of knowing how to lead and get things done. I also am a person that listens and can go into any state and talk to folks that are there. And I don't think it's complicated. It's about when people wake up in the morning, they're not thinking about their party or the polls or the presidential election. They're thinking about their job and whether they make enough to support their family. They're thinking about their next doctor's appointment for themselves, their parents, or their kids. They're thinking about the roads and the bridges they're going to drive on and how long it's going to take to get there, so thank you for doing traffic each day. They're thinking about the school that they're dropping their kids off at, and they're thinking about the safety in their community. So when you govern that way, and when you talk to people about those needs, they see that you're not trying to move to the right or the left, but just to move their lives forward. That's a type of it's not messaging, it's purpose. That when people see, they're willing to cross over, they're willing to consider something different, because we all want a better life for our families, and that's what we should look for in our leaders.
To do that, you have to make people feel seen. You have to earn people's trust. Here in Iowa, back in 2008 and in 2012, in those presidential cycles, Iowa went to Obama. But in 2016 and 2020, that flipped. And Iowans voted for Trump in both of those years. And many of those Iowa voters that were once Obama voters and became Trump voters say they felt forgotten by the Democratic Party. What's your message to those Iowa voters on why the Democratic Party should win back their vote in this upcoming presidential election?
Well, in Kentucky, there have been a lot of Trump-Bashir voters. I ran against Donald Trump's handpicked candidate and won by 5 points in a state that went to President Trump by, I think, 26 points in the last election. People are willing to change their vote if they believe you care about them, if you talk to them and not at them, if you show up over and over, and if you're focused on the things that matter most to them. You know, all too often, sometimes people in a national party focus on the issue of the day in D.C. Well, if you don't feel good about your job, the public infrastructure, your health care, the education your kids are getting, and your public safety, you don't get to anything else. And so it's really important to have that day in and day out focus, and then to actually get results. And then finally, I think you got to share your why. All right? People want to know that you're real. So why do you make decisions that you do? For me, it's my faith. You know, I believe in the golden rule that we're supposed to love our neighbor as ourselves, and the parable of the Good Samaritan that says everyone is our neighbor. And so when I make decisions, tough decisions, when I vetoed the nastiest anti-LGBTQ bill that our state had ever seen, and I did it in my election year, I did it because I believe all children are children of God. And I wanted those children to know that while other people were picking on them, somebody cares about them. And it was after that somebody came up to me and said, one of the nicest things they said that I've heard. They didn't say, I agree with you on everything. They said, I don't always agree with you, but I know you're doing what you think is right. I mean, if we're willing to be vulnerable enough to share our why, then it gives people the grace and the space to vote for you, even if they don't agree with everything. But you got to listen to their why too. That's the being seen, the being cared about, and not being overlooked. And in Kentucky, we understand what being overlooked feels like. I'm the type of governor, and if given an opportunity, would be the type of candidate that I think can give voice to that.
Now, talking about the position that you're being considered for, and talking about national and presidential politics as well, would you support Democrats reinstating Iowa as the first state in the presidential nominating process?
Well, I'm in Iowa, so certainly I would. No, and in all candor, it had such excitement, and the way it was done, and Iowa would make people campaign in real ways. I mean, you campaign like we do. You got to show up at a county fair, and you got to know how to walk around and actually talk to people face to face. And that's what Iowa brings, and it would be exciting to get it back in that place where we could generate the type of excitement, but also they call it retail politics in a way that cheapens it because it gives it some sterile term. It's actually eyeball to eyeball, handshake to handshake, people seeing you. It makes sure that we're real. And if there's anything we need right now in government and politics, it's that people that are real, people that are strong and smart, but people that are also kind and have empathy.
So in 2028, when there is a conversation around reshaping that early nominating calendar, if they come to you and say, what do you think? Do you think Iowa should be in that early nominating window? Do you think Iowa should kick off the process again? You would say yes?
Well, I think we absolutely ought to put that on the table and have that discussion because y'all generated excitement like nothing else we've seen.
Now, I also want to ask you, to your point about Kentucky being widely seen as a solidly red state, you bringing Democratic leadership to the forefront of that state. Similarly, in Iowa right now, many people look at the state and see it as a solidly red state. What's your advice to Iowa Democrats as they look to win back power here?
Focus on people's everyday challenges. Don't get caught up in the issue of the day in D.C. Focus on people's jobs. Focus on people's health care. Focus on the roads and the bridges because that's what gets people safely, all the places that they're going. Focus on schools. Public education is so critical, and I know in a very concerning place right now in Iowa because of legislation that was passed. I hear one school district is even already shut down. And embrace public safety. People want to be and to feel safe, and make sure we're investing in the people that do that. And then get out there and work. I mean, get in every community. There aren't red counties and blue counties. Each of those counties has families that make up their own mind, that have their own experiences. And it's going to sound strange talking about people in a political party, but everything's not partisan. And everybody is so tired of the constant back and forth. I mean, right now, everything from the car you drive to the beer you drink, you're supposed to pick a team. Like, we can't go forward with that. I mean, we're at a boiling point in the country. So offering people a message that appeals to everyone. And then remembering, if you get the honor to do the job, you're not a Democratic or a Republican in your day-to-day job. You take off that hat and you serve everybody. You help everybody, whether they voted for you or not, whether they voted or not. Regardless of what party they're in, your job is to make life better. And when you show people that you're willing to do that, they're willing to give you a second look.
Well, Governor, I really appreciate you making the time to talk to us today.
Thank you very much.